Hi, folks, and welcome to another episode of Lowdown on Low Code. Always appreciate all you folks who take the time to join with us and listen to what we have to say. It's always a little shocking to me that you care about what we're up to here. But if you like it and you like what's going on here and you want to share it with some like-minded people, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the share button. We're always excited to get new listeners. This is going to be a cool episode. This is one we've been waiting for a while now, and I think one of the things we have to do by way of background is to just think about sort of the automation space and the low code space. And this has always been kind of a convergence of different factors. And certainly we have done a lot of focus on low code. We've done a lot of focus on the importance of automation around that space. We focused a lot on artificial intelligence, and today we really want to put a focus on the other major factor that we want to bring to bear here, which is the role of content and unstructured data and content, which plays such an incredibly important role in your automation strategy. And to that end, we couldn't have picked a better guest. We have with us today the CEO of Hyland. Jitesh Ghai. Those of you who are not familiar with Hyland, everybody's familiar with Hyland, a major player in the content and automation space. Jitesh, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Really excited to be here with you, and always game to talk shop. So looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with you guys for a long time around the Hyland portfolio and the Alfresco portfolio and the Nuxio portfolio, and I feel like I'm missing somebody along the way here. But have always had a great relationship with the Hyland team. So really excited to have you here today. Hey, Jitesh, the way we like to start these things is we like to ask folks, what's your background? How did you get here? It's just so fascinating to me how people came to be in this technology space. Would you mind sharing with us your story?
Yeah, happy to. It's I'll start with sharing what I tell my kids, what I tell those that I mentor, and whoever is willing to listen. Is it's incredibly important to have a plan. It's equally critically important to let life reveal its plan for you. I say that because I started my career as a hardware engineer, as a ASIC designer, a chip designer for high performance networking, routing, forwarding chipsets for Cisco's flagship telecom routing products. I was a big silicon geek. But through that, I got a great appreciation for data and communication in particular. And transitioned into building high performance software, real-time data distribution, messaging middleware products to power trading systems for hedge funds, exchanges, investment banks globally, which got me into low latency communication, took my background from networking, but got me into real-time data. That was with a startup. Our startup got acquired into a broader data company, and that's how I got into structured data, complex hierarchical relational data sets, typical of warehousing, reporting, analytics, and building out capabilities to help organizations manage structured data. And then I'd get asked by chief data officers, CIOs, chief digital officers, Jitesh, we love what you're doing for us, but how can you help me with unstructured data? That's 80 to 90% of my enterprise's data estate. I have no answer for that. And when I discovered Hyland, I had my aha moment of finally, I can help organizations unlock exponential value out of that 80 to 90% of their unstructured data. And that's why I'm here at Hyland, and that's what we're doing.
And that's a perfect segue to our next question. So I did probably a pretty bad job of teeing this up in the introduction around, the role of content and unstructured data in driving an overall automation strategy and driving digital transformation. I think a lot of folks who are familiar with Hyland will think about you as a content and a case management company. But Tell me in your words, what is Hyland's role in driving an organization's automation strategy forward?
Yeah. Hyland is very unique amongst content management platforms, where our DNA has always started with the business outcome, not document retention for the sake of document retention. A document, unstructured data, simply being persisted is great for compliance purposes, but really, Highland's DNA has always been on the business outcome and how do we productively enable an organization to take their mission critical, most mission critical and sensitive unstructured data, documents, images, etc., and automate their mission critical processes with it. Things like patient onboarding, patient referrals, loan processing in banking, mortgage approvals, claims processing, all of those run on the backs of the content, the unstructured data that Hyland is a custodian of for the enterprise, and our automation workflows that enable these processes within an organization.
I mean, if we go back, I mean, if I think back to my roots, like in 35 years ago, working in like imaging and content management solutions when I was a young buck in this place. I mean, really, content was the original driver of all this automation. It was, how do I take this file folder that's getting moved around my organization, which is a crazy bad process, and move it into something that's more automated. So you guys have been there from the beginning, right? And maybe the market has finally come around to to what your value proposition has always been, and I think this is a particularly critical moment as folks are trying to grapple with a whole bunch of these factors, including low code, which is the kind of the piece that we focus on. That the show is called Low Down on Low Code, and I worked with Hyland for many years around not only your process automation but your low code capabilities. How important is low code to the value proposition at Hyland?
Yeah, critically important, and that again starts with our DNA of starting with the business outcome first, not technology for the sake of technology, but solving critical business outcomes. That comes down to time to value, and low code has always been critical to our DNA in enabling organizations, meeting organizations where they are, and through low code experiences, giving meeting their processes where they are and enabling the authoring of process automation as a result. Equally, enabling organizations not just to automate their processes, but through low code experiences have custom application experiences. Oftentimes in this digital transformation world, organizations are retrofitting themselves into a bespoke SaaS app. We've always been a meet our customers where they are, meet their processes, and deliver custom application experiences. So it's been critical. And in this wonderful world of Gen AI that we live in, we're transitioning from low code to truly no code, where you can ask our automation engine, you can simply ask it, I want this process with these steps, with these decisions, and you don't even have to drag and drop the process. We will auto generate the resulting process, and then you simply deploy.
Let's press on that in a few minutes. That's something I think that's going to be really interesting to our audience. But I want to actually hit on something a little different here today, which is one of the things about low code is it's a fundamentally different way to build applications. It's more visual in nature. You gather requirements differently in a low code environment than we did back in the good old days of waterfall and old time systems requirement gathering. What generally do you see is the role of the business person, maybe the less technical, more business focused person in the development process within Hyland's projects and Hyland's deployments?
It's critical. It's critical. Our expertise has been very industry centric, going back to our DNA of focusing on business outcomes. And so we have deep expertise in healthcare. We have deep expertise in financial services, in insurance, as well as retail banking. We have deep expertise in in state and local government related digital projects, as well as in higher education. And bringing that deep expertise is a result of engaging with the chief medical information officer or the head of claims at an insurance organization or the head of loan approvals or mortgage approvals. We bring we bring our expertise, engage with the business, and then in parallel engage with the CIO and the IT teams to deliver our specific technology through packaged industry solutions to realize those business outcomes for our customers. That's why Liberty Mutual is saving over $4 million dollars a year using our content and automation capabilities. That's why Asante Healthcare is leveraging our AI agents to process documents. 1.4 million documents were processed manually over the period of a year. And I took an hour for several people to search through this trove, literally 14 feet high of paper, to find one document. That's been reduced to literally minutes. A 90% reduction in time. That's the kind of the value we deliver, and we deliver it by engaging with the business.
So there's an important point I think you made just in terms of the couple of customers that you mentioned, which is this working in two areas. One, I would say highly regulated and mission critical environments, which I think is also something that where Hyland has always focused and thrived.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I'm glad you called it out. That's a result of us focusing on industries, focusing on the hard problem of data and driving business outcomes, which naturally you start with the most mission critical processes that, no surprise, require the most mission critical and sensitive data that we are custodians of. We're the biggest of our kind, exclusively focused on the problem of unstructured data, AI, and automation to deliver business outcomes. We're 1.2 billion in revenue. We have the benefit of being custodians of the most mission critical unstructured data, medical images, documents, etc., across these highly regulated and sensitive industries. That is our promise to our customers as their custodians, is delivering value through this unique data set, AI enabling this unique data set that frankly others don't have the benefit of being custodians of.
Mm-hmm. A great deal of well-earned trust for a long time. Hey, folks, I want to take a quick commercial interruption here. So, Lowdown on Low Code is brought to you by Analysis.tech. If you like what you're hearing from our guests on a weekly basis and want to engage further with Analysis.tech, please find us at Analysis.tech. That's our domain name. Engage with myself or some of the other members of the team, John Reimer, the godfather of low code, Francis Carden, the first person to build an RPA company, the godfather of RPA, Rick Greenwald, who came to us from Gartner, focusing on data, and Dave Marcus from UiPath and K2, a long history in automation and partner enablement. Andy Bartels, our chief economist, who works around all of our financial and forecasting data. So commercial over. We'll get back to our regularly scheduled programming. Jitesh, you've mentioned a couple of times the role of AI, and I actually want to kind of poke on that for the last, for the next couple of questions. And it's interesting because I mentioned having been involved in this since the early '90s, and we think that AI just kind of popped onto the scene a couple of years ago, but AI has been highly prevalent in automation for a really long time, and maybe perhaps in the most compelling way around some of the things that have been investments in the content side, right? So I mean, content intelligence is deeply rooted and dependent upon AI, and has been an incredibly important piece of making sense of unstructured data for, I mean, are we talking decades? I mean, for a long time. Um, Give us a sense of how Hyland is thinking about this. First off, a sense of your investments, which I think are always worth mentioning. Your decades of investments in this space, but taking that and leveraging it to what does this look like? How important is this inflection point, and how are you thinking about guiding us through this long term or short term, and then in the longer term?
Yeah, yeah. Our point of view is we've been trusted custodians of this most mission critical enterprise data for decades. We're 30 years in the making, 14,000 customers globally. And our point of view is while AI applied to content has been a thing for many years, it's largely been through predictive models and tuning and tweaking them specific to bespoke organizations. We are now at a point of accelerated value and outcomes by leveraging predictive models, generative models, as well as the immense leaps in GPU and inference and training performance that we are all benefactors of now. What's unique to us as Hyland is, we all look at all the amazing innovations in the world of AI that are happening literally every week. There was DeepSeek, then there was GPT 4.5, then there was Grok 3. Every week there's new models and new innovations and new performance enhancements happening, new innovations around inference time and the cost of inference time compute. But really, while there is all this innovation happening, in the enterprise, it's only actionable if you're applying these models to the mission critical data of an enterprise, to the mission critical processes that are automated with that data. That is what we are entrusted with. We spoke about data, we spoke about automation. That's what we're doing. We're automating millions of mission critical business processes with exabytes of data across mission critical, highly regulated industries. So when you think about this as what we do for organizations, and then you think about the awesome potential of AI, predictive, generative, and the compute we have available to us, you think about the millions of business processes, the tens of millions of decisions that humans are making in those business processes over Hyland's workflows, and we are replacing those decisions with predictive and generative models. Everybody talks about AI replacing people. No, done right, AI shouldn't be replacing people. It should be fully automating enterprise business processes, taking the decisions of humans away and replacing those decisions increasingly with predictive and generative models. That's what we're doing. That is why we launched the Content Innovation Cloud last year. The Content Innovation Cloud delivers content intelligence, process intelligence, and application intelligence to realize agents, AI agents, agentic workflows, and through it, exponential business outcomes. That's what our customers are using our AI agents for today, for things like intelligent document processing billions of documents in seconds and minutes.
So let's press on that, and as kind of our last topic here, because that's a great point you just made, and I think it's timely, right? So if you kind of look at some of the noise that's out there in the market, coming from very credible places, Mark Benioff at Salesforce, Satya Nadella at Microsoft, are talking about this post SaaS world, right? And in my mind, I'm interpreting that as post current business application model world, right? That things change. Agents. I think in my mind are really different in the sense that we've really struggled with breaking down organizational boundaries that are enforced by line of business systems. Agents don't particularly care, right? Going back to your roots around integration, right? Agents are really able to move through these systems and create new possibilities of how processes are built and developed. A, do you agree with that vision from Mark and Satya? And B, how do you see Hyland? What do you see Hyland's role in driving that vision?
Yeah, I do. It's a yes but answer. The yes is the enterprise technology stack of the future. You know, 2 to 3 years out is going to look radically different than the enterprise technology stack that has existed. Digital transformation and its definition is going to be completely upended. It already is being upended. We're moving from there's an app for that world, both for consumers and in the enterprise. To my point of view, our point of view is starting with the data, not starting with the app, but starting with your data, starting with the information that is most critical and matters to you to make decisions, and then from there automating an organization's business processes. Things we've been doing for decades as Hyland, as a leader in the unstructured data space. But what's truly exciting is taking these business processes and now making them autonomous, freeing up these very important people that are interrupted with making a decision of approve or deny of loans or asking for more information, and letting models do that. And that's where we see a world increasingly of agents replacing business processes, not agents replacing people, but the mission critical business processes within an organization. As I mentioned, we have millions of business processes that we're orchestrating through automation. Those business processes are turning into millions of agents across our 14,000 customers. That's the future we see, and that only happens through AI, through orchestration, but none of that is possible without the information that those decisions that the AI models need to make, which happens with data, which happens with 80 to 90% of your enterprise data, which is your unstructured data. Whether it's patient onboarding, whether it's patient referrals, whether it's loan processing and approvals or claims processing for those that need funding in challenging times, all of it happening through AI agents powered by our Content Innovation Cloud and Hyland.
It's a really interesting moment for Hyland, in the sense, I think, that it's always been hard to unlock the value that's in unstructured data. Like, we always love the number, 80%, 90% of your stuff is in unstructured data, and we have to unlock it. And we've been working diligently at that for a very long time, right? But it's been integration. It's been a heavy lift outside of like the formal environment where you've wired up something to handle a specific process. And suddenly you're faced with this world where it becomes much easier to say, we have the content, we have the intelligence associated with that content, and that content is now free to participate in far more business processes than it was before. I mean, it's really an interesting moment, an opportunity for you guys.
It's incredibly exciting. We've been in the space for 3 decades, but what's different now is the technology tailwinds that exist. We've got predictive models, we've got generative models, and notably the generative models are now able to give structure to what has been historically very hard and unstructured data. We're able to identify and classify what is a credit report, what is a bank statement, what is a patient record, what is a purchase order. We're able to classify that, and then within it extract, well, this is the purchase order, and these are the products, and this is the discount, and this is the price. These were not things that were possible or practical. We have the data, we have the technology, And as I mentioned, we're moving from there's an app for that world, there's a SaaS for that digital fragmentation world, to there's a model that can be applied to your data for that. And Hyland is privileged to sit at this unique confluence of AI orchestration and mission critical enterprise data. Exciting times. We're thrilled to be serving our customers for this many years and to be bringing these agentic outcomes in the coming weeks and months with our AI powered content innovation cloud.
Just a great comment to close out on, Jitesh. Thank you so much for taking the time and joining us today, folks. Jitesh Ghai, CEO of Hyland. You can find them at hyland.com. Any other parting thoughts for us today?
Rob, we live in exciting times. Stay tuned. Many generative AI innovations getting launched in the coming weeks and months at Hyland. Transformative outcomes for our customers already underway with millions of dollars of savings through agentic automation. Thanks for having me and looking forward to sharing more successes in the coming weeks and months.
Great. We're looking forward to hearing from him. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. And we'll see you next week on our next episode of Lowdown on Low Code.